On Sunday, 2nd of November, India launched its heaviest communication satellite GSAT-7R from Sriharikota. For the Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO, it marked yet another proud chapter in a remarkable journey. For the Indian Navy, it was a leap towards secure, indigenous communication across the vast Indian Ocean. And for the nation, it stood as a powerful symbol of Aatmanirbhar Bharat in space. Namaskar and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm RAJIV Kumar Singh. From humble beginnings in a coastal village of Kerala, India's rise in the realm of space has been nothing short of meteoric. A saga of science, vision and unwavering resolve. In this episode of History Behind Headlines, we trace the beginnings of the Indian space journey and explore its promising future among the stars. So let us begin. Orbit of Dreams, the ISRO story.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. S200 motors ignited. Plus 5 seconds.
In the fading orange of a Sunday evening, a column of fire rose above the coastline of Sriharikota. The roar of the LVM-3 M5 rocket, India's most powerful launch vehicle, tore through the humid air. Inside its fairing sat CMS-03, better known as GSAT-7R, India's heaviest ever communication satellite, weighing an extraordinary 4,400 kilograms. As the rocket cleared the tower, a cheer erupted inside the Mission Control Center at the Satish Dhawan Space Center. A few tense minutes later, confirmation arrived. The satellite had been successfully inserted into a geosynchronous transfer orbit (GTO). For the Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO, it was more than another successful launch.
I am happy to announce that LVM-3 M5 launch vehicle has successfully injected the CMS-03 communication satellite in the required orbit. The satellite weighing 4,410 kg is precisely injected within the specification of the orbit. Let me congratulate the entire ISRO community, the project teams, all the team members and our industrial partners for your outstanding contribution for accomplishment of this great mission.
It was a statement of self-reliance, precision and power. For the Indian Navy, it was a leap toward secure, indigenous, high-capacity communications across the vast Indian Ocean. And for India, it was a reminder that the journey from a modest coastal church in Tumba, Kerala, to the global space stage has been nothing short of extraordinary. Long before humans dreamed of walking on Mars, we dreamed of talking across continents. That dream came true when communication satellites began orbiting Earth. Over the years, communication satellites have become the backbone of a connected nation. Communication satellites are designed to relay signals, voice, data, video between 2 points on Earth that cannot directly see each other because of the planet's curvature. They act as giant mirrors in space, receiving signals, amplifying them and beaming them back to Earth through transponders. They differ from other satellites in purpose and design. Remote sensing satellites scan Earth for images and environmental data. Navigation satellites like NAVIC guide our movements with precision. Scientific satellites study space phenomena, the sun or distant planets. But communication satellites like GSAT-7R keep the world connected. They power television broadcasts, internet connectivity, disaster management networks, telemedicine, and defense communications. For the military, they ensure secure, uninterrupted coordination across air, land, and sea. When ISRO's GSAT-7R took to the skies, it carried not just metals and circuits, it carried the lifelines of modern communication and sovereignty. It is not merely its weight that makes the GSAT-7R historic, it is what it represents. Built indigenously, equipped with cutting-edge payloads and multi-band transponders, the satellite extends India's maritime communication network far beyond its shores. From the Andaman Sea to the Arabian waters, the Navy's ships, submarines, aircraft and maritime operation centers will now operate under a secure, high-bandwidth, Indian-built network.
GSAT-7R is meeting this requirement of further strengthening our coastal security, where the communication between the naval platforms and also monitoring the movement of the ships, like you have the ships carrying the oil, ships carrying the materials, the goods. So all this have to be monitored, including the fishing boats and small boats. So this is what is the importance of this. And it has a multi-band. So it has got all the bands like UHF, S-band, C-band, KU-band. All these are very vital to have a wider coverage as well as to have a broader bandwidth. This is what this GSAT-7R is giving to our Navy. And so this is going to further strengthen our the coastal security in a big way, in a significant manner.
It marks the evolution of a capability that began with GSAT-7 Rukmini, launched in 2013, the first dedicated military communication satellite for the Indian Navy. Now, over a decade later, GSAT-7R takes the foundation to a new level: faster data rates, broader coverage, and indigenously secured encryption. According to the Indian Navy, the successful launch of GSAT-7R is a testament to Aatmanirbhar Bharat. Indeed, the launch isn't just about a satellite, it is about strategic independence. In an era where data and communication are as vital as missiles and submarines.
To understand the true significance of GSAT-7R, we must journey back to where India's space dream first took flight. Not in gleaming laboratories or vast launch pads, but in a modest church building in Thumba, a small coastal village in Kerala, where a handful of visionary scientists, guided by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, laid the foundation of what would one day become ISRO.
It was here, amid palm trees, sea breeze, and the rhythm of crashing waves, that India's tryst with space truly began. From the St. Mary Magdalene Church, located in Thumba, a small coastal village at the outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram in the state of Kerala. The church served as the first control room and design office. The scientists launched the nation's earliest sounding rockets from Thumba, lighting a spark that would one day reach the moon and Mars. ISRO's first chief, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, envisioned that space technology could transform a developing nation. He once said, "We do not have the fantasy of competing with the economically advanced nations in the exploration of the moon or planets or manned spaceflight, but we are convinced that if we are to play a meaningful role nationally and in the community of nations, we must be second to none in the application of advanced technologies to the real problems of man and society." That conviction laid the foundation of INCOSPAR in 1962, the Indian National Committee for Space Research. By 1969, it evolved into ISRO. From Tumba's church-turned-laboratory, the first rockets were transported on bicycles and bullock carts. But those humble beginnings concealed a fierce ambition to harness the space for education, communication, and development. In 1975, from the steppes of the Soviet Union, India launched its first satellite, RAJIV, named after the ancient astronomer. It marked India's entry into the space age. 5 years later, on July 18, 1980, SLV-3, India's first indigenously built rocket, placed Rohini satellite RS-1 into orbit, the first satellite launched from Indian soil. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who led the project, later recalled that moment as one of the proudest in his career.
1979, SLV-3 satellite launch vehicle, I was the project director, mission director. 1979, it was a failure. It was a failure. First time I experienced my failure. How do you manage the failure? Success I can manage. So at that time, a great man, a great leader, Professor Satish Dhawan, he comes to me, I am very tired working nearly for months. He wakes me up, come, let us go for a press conference. What Satish Dhawan said, Chairman, Indian Space Research Organization, said, dear friends, we have failed today. This is the first time I have to give all the success, all the failure is, I want to support my technologists and scientists and staff so that next year they succeed. So he took the whole blame himself. Next year, July 18, 1980, when he succeeded, Professor Dhawan said, you go and conduct the press conference. Do you follow what it means? It means when the failure occurred, the leader took it up. When the success came, he used his team.
It was in the 1980s that India truly felt the impact of space technology. The INSAT series, Indian National Satellite System, transformed communication and broadcasting. Television signals began reaching villages that had never seen an electric bulb. Doordarshan expanded nationwide. Farmers received weather forecasts. Fishermen got storm warnings. School children watched satellite-based education programs. For the first time, satellites were not abstract marvels. They were bridges of inclusion.
As technology evolved, so did ISRO's satellites. In 2001, the GSAT series began, with GSAT-1 ushering in a new era of high-bandwidth communication. Over the years, GSAT-6, GSAT-7, GSAT-11, GSAT-29 and CMS-01 expanded India's capabilities. These satellites supported everything from tele-education and telemedicine to digital broadcasting, internet and defense communication.
Each mission added layers of sophistication, larger payloads, more transponders, higher frequency bands, and eventually indigenous propulsion systems. The GSAT-7R, now launched, is a culmination of these decades, India's most powerful space communicator and fully homegrown. ISRO's story is not just about communication. It is about understanding Earth, exploring the heavens and empowering people. Through the IRS, Indian Remote Sensing Series, India became a world leader in satellite-based Earth observation. These satellites map forests, monitor crops, manage water resources and aid disaster response. During cyclones and floods, IRS data saves thousands of lives every year. Then came NAVIC, India's indigenous navigation system, offering accurate positioning across the subcontinent and beyond, rivaling America's GPS and Europe's Galileo. And in 2004, with EduSat, India launched the world's first satellite dedicated exclusively to education, linking classrooms across the nation. In every sphere, ISRO satellites have quietly entered daily life, powering ATMs, DTH networks, rural telemedicine, weather alerts, and even the backbone of digital governance. As ISRO mastered the Earth's orbit, it turned its gaze beyond. In 2008, India launched Chandrayaan-1, its first mission to the moon. It made a discovery that rewrote lunar science, the presence of water molecules on the moon's surface. The world took notice. Then, in 2013 came Mangalyaan, the Mars orbiter mission. Against all odds, India became the first Asian nation to reach Mars orbit and the first in the world to do so in its maiden attempt. What astonished the world was not only the success but the cost. Just 450 crore rupees, less than the budget of a Hollywood space movie. India had achieved interplanetary exploration with elegance and economy. NASA scientists called it the Mars mission done on a shoestring, but with stunning precision. In 2023, Chandrayaan-3 made history again, the first landing near the moon's south pole. It wasn't just a soft landing, it was a declaration that India had arrived among the world's top spacefaring nations.
मैं टीम चंद्रयान को, इसरो को और देश के सभी वैज्ञानिकों को जी जान से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, जिन्होंने इस पल के लिए वर्षों तक इतना परिश्रम किया है। उत्साह, उमंग, आनंद और भावुकता से भरे इस अद्भुत पल के लिए मैं 140 करोड़ देशवासियों को भी कोटि कोटि बधाइयां देता हूं।
3, 2, 1, 0.
India's curiosity doesn't stop at the moon and Mars. With Aditya L1 launched in 2023, ISRO began studying the sun's outer atmosphere from a point of 1.5 million kilometers away. With AstroSat, India's first space observatory, scientists now observe distant galaxies and X-ray sources. Each mission reflects India's expanding scientific horizon, from communication and weather to cosmology, astrophysics and planetary science. While agencies like NASA, ESA or Roscosmos operate with multi-billion-dollar budgets, ISRO has built its legacy on efficiency and innovation. Every mission is a masterclass in frugality without compromise. Reusable technologies, indigenous manufacturing, modular designs, all combine to make India the world's most cost-effective space program. Foreign clients queue up for commercial launches through ISRO's arm, Antriksh Corporation, and now New Space India Limited, NSIL. Over 430 foreign satellites from 36 countries have been launched aboard ISRO rockets, earning not just revenue but respect.
This change happened because of reliability, which is very, very important, because you are putting a great asset which you have prepared, the payload, the satellites, and which is a very important asset which will have multiple applications in space and for their country. So now they are coming here for two reasons. Our PSLV particularly is very highly reliable launch vehicle, which has been proven. Almost 100% success. There is no failure at all, which is very unique record for our country, India, that we have been able to have a reliable launch vehicle. The second is frugal. We do everything in a cost-effective manner. So that is the next attraction for other countries to come to India.
India is no longer just a participant in global space affairs. It is a reliable partner, a competitive launcher and increasingly a strategic player in global space diplomacy. India's next great leap is Gaganyaan, the mission that will send Indian astronauts into space aboard an Indian rocket. Training has begun, the spacecraft is being tested, and if timelines hold, India will soon join the elite club of nations capable of manned space flight. This project is more than a technological feat. It is an affirmation of confidence that a nation that once launched rockets from a fishing village is now ready to send its own citizens to the stars.
In virtually every infrastructure development, roads, buildings, disaster management, we have created a role model of how best, and that is actually the true vindication of what Sarabhai said. Sarabhai said that space is meant for nation building. So we are actually building. And these missions in the sky or in the space also have to be seen in that context, because unless you land a human being there, or unless you show your capability of exploring the space, you would not be acknowledged by the other competing nations.
A quiet revolution is reshaping India's space landscape. Through InSpace, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, private players are now partners in ISRO's journey. Startups are building small launch vehicles, satellite constellations, and deep space technologies. Companies like Skyroot Aerospace, Agnikul Cosmos, and Pixel are pioneering new frontiers. India's space economy, estimated at around $8 billion today, is projected to grow five-fold by 2040. With policy reforms, satellite broadband initiatives, and public-private collaboration, India is emerging as the world's next major space hub. Once, India looked abroad for launch vehicles and designs. Today, the world looks at India for solutions. ISRO's reliability has earned global trust. Whether launching nanosatellites for universities or collaborating with NASA on the NISAR mission, it is now part of international lunar and planetary collaborations, including dialogues on the Artemis Accords. The global community sees in India a rare blend, scientific excellence rooted in developmental purpose. ISRO does not chase prestige alone. It builds technology that uplifts. That philosophy of science serving society remains India's greatest distinction in the space race. The coming years promise a dazzling constellation of missions. Gaganyaan, human spaceflight, India's tryst with manned missions. Shukriyaan, a planned mission to Venus to study its atmosphere. Lunar Polar Exploration Mission, LUPEX, in collaboration with Japan. Next-gen communication satellites, expanding 5G and maritime connectivity. Reusable launch vehicles, RLV, lowering launch costs and boosting sustainability. Space Station 2035, India's planned low Earth orbit station in the next decade. The vision is clear: to build a self-reliant, global-class space ecosystem that powers India's economy, defense and scientific innovation. The launch of GSAT-7R, like every ISRO mission, is the product of thousands of unseen hands, scientists, engineers, technicians, and workers who pour precision and patience into every nut and circuit. From the vision of Sarabhai and Dr. Homi Bhabha to the leadership of Satish Dhawan, U.R. Rao, K. Kasturi Rangan, G. Madhavan Nair, K. Sivan, and S. Somnath, ISRO's legacy is a relay of intellect and integrity. Even in failure, they found learning. When Chandrayaan-2's lander crashed, the nation saw its chief in tears, and the Prime Minister's embrace reminded us that science progresses through courage. The success of Chandrayaan-3 was born from that resilience. When the LVM-3 M5 rocket lifted off carrying GSAT-7R, it wasn't just a new satellite joining orbit. It was a symbolic arc from the Church of Thumba to the cutting edge of geosynchronous space.
भारत के वैज्ञानिकों ने भारत की सबसे हैवी कम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट को सफलतापूर्वक लॉन्च किया है। मैं इस मिशन से जुड़े सभी वैज्ञानिकों को इसरो की भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
Behind every ISRO rocket and satellite lies a philosophy, one articulated by its founding father Vikram Sarabhai and carried forward by generations of scientists. That philosophy is science with purpose. Space not for conquest but for development. Exploration not for prestige but exploration for progress. Whether connecting remote villages, monitoring crops, warning fishermen or guiding soldiers, India's space technology has always served human need above national ego. That is what sets it apart. That's all we have in this program. Thanks for watching.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा YouTube चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।